Hello Huns, welcome to Astrology 101. It's been a minute. Today we're going to talk about the astrological houses, so let's get to it. If you look at a birth chart, you'll see a little circle in the middle or on the outside of the chart that's divided into 12 segments, numbered 1 to 12 in Roman numerals. These are the 12 houses of astrology and will give you a greater insight into how a planet's energy plays out in your chart. If you think of the planets as the what, as in what part of your personality, the signs as the how, as in how does this part of your personality present itself, and then the houses are the where, as in where in your life does this play out. Each house is associated with one of the 12 signs, so the first house is the house of Aries, the second house is the house of Taurus, etc. When a sign is in its own house, this is known as its default setting, and the vibe of that sign will be felt even more strongly in your chart. The planets also have a default setting in the houses which work in the same way. For example, Mars rules Aries and the first house, so Mars would be in its default setting in the first house. More often than not, the signs are not in their default setting. Let me explain why. As we talked about in episode 4, your rising sign or ascendant represents where the horizon line was at your time of birth. This also dictates the placement of your houses, as your ascendant will always be in your first house. For example, if your rising sign is in Leo, your first house will be in Leo, your second will be in Virgo, and so on. It is possible to have more than one house in a sign, but they'll be spread across all 12 signs, so you'll always have a sign in every house. Each of the houses are associated with different aspects of life, similar to the vibe of the sign associated with that house. For example, the second house is the house of Taurus and is associated with money, possessions, talent, skills, and personal values. The fourth house is the house of Cancer and is associated with home and family life, security, the mother, the past, and childhood. Each planet in your chart will be in a sign and a house and will present itself as a mix of the two vibes. For example, if you had your sun in Cancer in the 11th house, you'd be an emotional introvert who still wants to be a part of the community and do your part for humanity. Socializing would be important to you, but in small doses, as it can conflict with your introverted Cancer nature. Friendships would also be very important, as you often view your close friends as family. If there is a house in your chart with no planets in it, this tends to mean that these areas aren't the focus in your journey of life. These houses can still provide insight, however. For example, if you have no planets in your 12th house but Virgo's in this house, spiritual learning would be very important to you and you dream of excelling in your working life. Although this may not present itself in your day-to-day life as you've no planets here, this information can also be useful when there are any transits through your 12th house. It's also important to remember that all 12 signs are present in your chart, regardless of whether or not you have planets in them. If you want to learn more about house placements in your birth chart, why not get a birth chart reading at astrohuns.com, profession affordable. Click on the link in my bio for readings, stunning merch and more. That's it for this episode, Huns. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a gorgeous day. Okay, bye.